All right, let's talk about something that feels a little old school. We're going to demystify a financial tool that you might think is a total relic from a bygone era, but believe it or not, is still incredibly powerful and relevant in our digital world. Yep, I'm talking about the humble check. I mean, seriously, think about it. In a world where you just tap your phone for everything, right? Instant transfers, digital wallets, the whole idea of writing a check feels almost ceremonial. But you really shouldn't be fooled by its age. You know, understanding how these things work is absolutely essential for some of life's biggest moments, from paying your rent to making a down payment on a house. So in this explainer, we're going to break it all down. What a check actually is, the different types you'll see, how to make them secure, and, of course, what happens when things go wrong. Let's dive in. So, first things first, what even is a check? Let's deconstruct this powerful little piece of paper. Okay, so the official definition sounds a bit dry, but the key word here is unconditional. A check is an unconditional written order. That means the bank has to pay up, no strings attached, as long as everything's legit and the money's in the account. It's basically you giving a formal written instruction to your bank.
Every single check transaction has these three main players. You, the person writing the check, you're the drawer. Your bank, the one getting the instruction, is the drawee. And the person or company getting the money, that's the payee. Simple, right? Drawer, drawee, payee. Got it. Now, not all checks are the same. Actually, the way you write one can totally change how it works and how secure it is. So let's get into the two most basic types you're going to come across.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, and it all comes down to two tiny little words, or bearer. If you leave those words on the check, you've just made a bearer check, and that means whoever is physically holding it can cash it. It's kind of like cash. Super convenient, sure, but also super risky. Now, if you take a pen and just cross out or bearer, boom, it's now an order check. That means it can only be paid to the specific person you wrote on the pay to line. This is the one you want to use for pretty much everything, for security's sake.
And this really nails the point. Think about it. If you drop a bearer check on the street, it's exactly like dropping a $20 bill. Whoever picks it up can legally cash it. So the big takeaway here is you gotta be mindful of which kind of check you're writing.
Speaking of security, there's this beautifully simple, almost old-fashioned trick that adds a huge layer of protection to any check. And the best part is, anyone can do it. It's called crossing the check. You just draw two parallel lines on the top left corner. That's it. Sometimes you'll see words like AC payee written in between, which is even better. But honestly, those two little lines all by themselves are a massive instruction to the entire banking system. So what do those lines actually do? Well, two big things. First, they scream at the bank teller, do not hand over cash for this. Second, they say the money must be deposited directly into a bank account. This creates a paper trail, a digital footprint. So if that check gets stolen, the thief can't just walk up and get cash. They'd have to put it in an account, which makes them a whole lot easier to find.
Okay, but what about the really big stuff? High-stakes situations. For large payments, the person getting paid needs more than just your word. They need an ironclad guarantee that the funds are actually there. This is where guaranteed payments come into play.
Let's break this down. With a certified check, you write a check like normal, but then you take it to your bank. They check your account, see you have the money, stamp the check, and then they lock those funds away in your account so you can't spend them. The guarantee is on your check. A banker's check, or a bank draft, is a whole different level. The bank takes the money out of your account, write them in there, and then issues a brand new check from its own account. And that is the crucial difference. A banker's check isn't your promise to pay, it's the bank's promise to pay. It's backed by the bank's own funds. That's why it's the absolute gold standard for massive transactions. Just imagine you're selling a house. Getting a banker's check for the down payment gives you total peace of mind. You know that money is as good as gold. But of course, things don't always go perfectly. Checks can expire, they can get rejected, they can cause some major headaches if you're not paying attention. The date you write on a check is super important. You can write a post-dated check, say for next month's rent, and the bank won't cash it until that date arrives. But on the flip side, don't just sit on a check you receive. After 3 months from the day it was written, it becomes a stale check. And guess what? The bank will just refuse to pay it. Which brings us to this very, very unhappy word. A dishonored check, you probably know it as a bounced check, is when the bank flat out refuses to pay.
And here are the usual suspects. The number one reason, of course, is insufficient funds, the classic bounce check. But it could also be that the signature doesn't match what the bank has on file, or there are scribbles and corrections all over it. Maybe the account doesn't even exist anymore, or the person who wrote it could have called the bank and put a stop payment on it. So this all brings us right back to where we started. For those big, important, secure transactions, the check still has its place, for sure. But in a world that's all about instant, digital everything, you really have to wonder, are we watching the final chapter of this classic financial tool unfold? Or will it always find a way to stick around? Definitely something to think about.